What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Post Credits Podcast, a show where we are lucky enough to talk about movies with you. This is episode 61.
Is it?
It
sure about
is.
that?
It is also Christmas week going into it, so a very Merry Christmas for all those who celebrate. A very Merry Happy Holidays to
Or
all
whatever
those who
holiday
celebrate.
you celebrate between now and the end of the year.
Indeed.
Or don't.
Or
Please be safe and celebrate whatever you want, or don't. Or go to, they go to a Chinese restaurant in Christmas Story, or go to a Chinese restaurant and have a damn good meal there too. Whatever you do, please make sure it's safe and fun for everyone involved. This is episode 61, recorded on Sunday, December 22nd, 2025, to get posted to podcast services on Tuesday, December.
It's Monday, sir.
Oh, it is Monday. See, I'm all off. It's Monday the 22nd.
Lying to the people.
Recorded to get posted on Tuesday the 23rd.
Yeah, I gotta do a lot of work tonight.
To the usual. I do as well, which is why I'm going to keep track of time code as I go. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Podbean, and YouTube. If you're listening to us on an audio-only version, feel free to head over to YouTube. Check us out there as well. You can watch full-length episodes, segments. It's all time-coded out. We try to snip out some interesting stuff for our shorts to make them funny. Please like and subscribe however you choose to enjoy us. Thank you very, very much. Thank you for 2025. It's been a good year. We look forward to a very good 2026. And we do have some additional content coming now between now and the coming weeks for what we're looking forward to in the first quarter of the new year. A wrap up of what we liked and didn't like in 2025. It's all coming. I don't know when, but it is coming in the weeks to come. Yes.
Dune.
Yes, and Dune is also this year. Oh my God, I saw a list of all the movies coming out this year. This is a stacked. We'll do an episode, and I think in the first episode of the new year we'll take a look at 2026 and see what
our upcomings.
There. But man,
we'll do the first quarter of 2026.
Yeah. Yep. All right. I am one of your hosts, Grayson Maxwell. Joining me as I do every week are my co-hosts Roger Stillion and Chris Bond, the lovely 2025 leaving behind, going forward 2026 version of yourselves. How are you guys?
Well, I'm just sad that I'm leaving a part of me behind. I don't know. That's
sounds very final.
Yeah.
A lot of finality.
No, not final, not over. Just
it's almost Christmas.
It is. This
I'm excited.
There will be another episode before the end of the year.
There will be one more.
There will be, but
Uno mas.
Uno mas indeed. What's going on, guys? How cold is it there? Any snow?
That's fine.
It can't decide what it wants to be.
I did fall on some ice yesterday. That was cool. Glad that happened. That was awesome. Just walking along and just
your text. When you sent me the text, I figured that may have been something that might have happened or came close to, and then you confirmed it later.
Yeah. Well, it was funny. So it's been a long time, as an adult, since I've fallen down. That's not something that happens very often when you get past a certain age. And so as I was sprawling towards the cement that I was falling on, I went full starfish, down.
Yes.
And just sort of bounced off my side, and I laid there for a second, and I just was like, oh.
That's dangerous at our age, isn't it?
It is. You know I'm old. Little to no damage though, so all
right, there you go.
Yeah, I'm in prime physical condition, clearly.
Would remember when you were a kid? Remember when you were a kid and you went down? It took you 4 seconds to rebound and be okay. Now as an adult, when you go down, there's a chance you're going to be on the couch for the next 4 days.
No,
when you fall down,
yesterday, I'll probably be hurt tomorrow.
Yeah. I mean, when you fall down, you have to do an actual general health check.
Yep.
You have to make sure everything works right.
You gotta roll the shoulders a little bit, check the neck. Yeah.
I tripped going up. You know how you can trip going up the stairs if you miss one, or you're there's you put your tippy toes on the stairs. Yeah. And I tripped it was. It hurt for 1 second. I stubbed my toe, but my watch went off and said, "Do you need assistance? Have you fallen?" That's a new feature. I mean, it's a good feature. It really is, but it's. I think I need to turn that off for a few more years anyway. But
yeah.
Just on the Apple Watch thing, we went to Colorado a couple years back, and we drove up one of the mountains, and we got hit by an ice storm while driving up the mountain, and we got basically chased off of the mountain by park rangers because it was dangerous at that point.
Okay.
And as we were going back down with no guardrails in a Tesla, my wife and my cousin's wife's Apple Watches started going off and asking them if they've started their workout, because their heart rates were up so
Heart rate were so high.
I can
Exciting.
imagine. That's
Yeah.
one little story about that is I went for a wedding years in 2014-ish, 2015. I went to a wedding in Mexico City, and we, as like a thing, the wedding, we all climbed this massive. Well, it was like a 3-hour trek to the top, another like an hour and a half down to like
I
a
don't wanna do that.
3,000-year-old temple. And something I noticed on the way up is not only was it like 90 degree or like 87 degrees sharp, like high, but like there's also no railings, none. And then the guy was like, "Look, if you go down, goodbye." I'm like, "That's
Yep.
not a thank you, tour guide."
Darwinism at work.
Yeah.
My
Once you
heart
go
rate
past
was
a certain point, you got to be like, no.
but, yeah, we made it up and down anyway. So
And
It
what-
sounds extremely unpleasant, by the way.
it was. I mean, it was cool to
There's
see
1,000
3,000-year-old
stairs.
temple.
Go have fun.
It was cool to see 3,000-year-old ruins of a temple, and I mean that was cool. But I mean,
did you just casually go to Machu Picchu?
no, it wasn't Machu
That's
Picchu.
not
It
in.
was not.
That's not in Mexico.
It was not. It was no. It was like a 20-minute drive to like this little outpost where they sold you all kinds of hiking gear if you want. Then you can go and then use like an ascent up the. But it was really cool. Anyway,
Nice.
what else is going on, guys? Roger, I have a story for you. I got to touch someone this week. You don't know. Chris knows, but you don't.
I don't know if you're supposed to say things like that.
It'll make sense when we get into it. It'll make more sense. What else is going on, guys?
Okay.
Anything before we head into
Strong
the
lead in, by the way.
Mhm.
No, I think everything else is like, I mean, Christmas stuff, man. Like families are coming in,
Yeah.
Getting things ready, presents getting wrapped, things getting packed up. So yep, just ready.
So
to get the
one
holiday rolling.
quick thing. So you guys know, I don't know if listeners. So I changed roles in my company this year. So for the first time ever, like I have
Me too.
like an extended holiday break. Like I'm not in the front facing world anymore, so I don't have to be nose to the grindstone for Christmas. And it's so nice that
Yeah.
I have a couple more days of work, and then after that, I'm just sort of gone until after like the 5th of January because
Yep.
that's just how corporate life is now. So
Yep.
this is rad as hell. This is
Yeah.
awesome.
In my career field, it's kind of the same way. Like, things don't get planned from like the 20th of December to like the 11th of January because nothing.
I begin to understand like nothing happens like the day before Thanksgiving to the beginning of the year. Like that's really like there's like a 6-week period where we're like, that's more of a 26 conversation. I'm just like, all right,
All right, fair
Damn.
enough, fair enough.
cool.
Let's start the episode, gentlemen, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
Do it. We
What we
got a big one this week. We had a very big one.
Well, maybe it might be a
we?
medium one.
It's
No,
like
it's a-
medium sized.
It should be a big one though. It should be a big one. So if it's medium, then it's our
Okay.
fault. But let's
What do
get
you mean my fault?
into
What did I do?
our fault. Collectively our fault. All right, let's get in the box office. So I don't, Roger. Have you seen the numbers for Avatar?
I have not.
Do you hear the annoyed tone of my voice? You should. Avatar: Fire and Ash, no doubt, is going to be number one. However, a very disappointing 88 million. If you're listening to this, you haven't seen Avatar.
Smashed by Zootopia.
What? I'm disappointed in you people for not watching. Avatar: Fire and Ash. You obviously don't want to see anything cool. Just saying. Anyway, so worldwide of 345 though, so it's a good worldwide take. The international take is much higher at 257. So there's that. Number two.
What did Wicked open to?
I'll check.
I
Okay.
don't remember actually.
I think it was like 105, wasn't it?
I would have lost money on that bet. Avatar was going to open to less than Wicked, but number two, David, which
One of us wouldn't.
is taking 22 million for a $22 million box office worldwide as well. That did.
They're promoting that very heavily. By
They
the
are.
way.
Number three, The Housemaid, 19 million for a worldwide of 19 million. Remember, that's with Amanda Seyfried and Sydney Sweeney. Number four, SpongeBob the movie Search for SquarePants. It opened to a very disappointing. You guys read about that. 16 million to a worldwide of 16 million. I guess that's only domestic. But,
So Wicked, the first Wicked Part 1 was 112 million domestic weekend, and then Wicked
What
for
was
Good was 147 million.
oh man, that's one of the rare instances where it did better than the original. So, all right.
Ouch.
Number five, Zootopia 2, 14.5 million for a 1.2 billion. I think there's a chance that Zootopia 2 outperforms Avatar. There's a chance. I don't know.
World where it happens.
Yeah,
it's possible.
that's mind blowing.
That's all I'll say.
That's mind blowing. Number 6, Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Number 7, Wicked for Good. 8, Marty Supreme. Number 9, Hamnet, and number 10, Durandar. They're your top 10 in the box office.
Real quick, I don't want to interject too much. What is the number for Marty Supreme?
It's only sitting at worldwide of 875, but it's not wide release though, is it?
Hold on, I have info on this actually. $875,000.
Sorry, $1,000. Sorry, I said million.
Yeah.
Sorry.
In 9 theaters.
Well, let's average that out.
What?
What's the average then?
It sold out 75 shows.
Jesus.
875,000 divided by how many theaters?
9.
So that means each theater had to take in just a touch over $97,000, which isn't impossible, but it's very impressive.
That's an impressive number.
Yeah, so hopefully when it goes wider, watch that outperform Avatar 2. I'll just lose my mind right here on the show.
That's
I mean, critically, it's going to smash it. So
that's about 7,500 tickets sold.
On a per theater average, it is outselling Avatar.
Well, there's your box office. Moving right along, let's talk about a big trailer this week that we all saw. If you saw Avatar, $88 million, people's worth. Let's talk about it for 1 second. And this is akin to the trailer we just talked about last week in the Hunger Games, Reaping or Sunrise and the Reaping. That it was a trailer for a movie that opens a year from now, Thanksgiving. This Avengers trailer teased it was a December 2026 release.
Yep.
Another year and ahead, but. What are we thinking? We saw very little. We saw the Avengers logo. It's all green. I'm assuming because of Doctor Doom thing. We saw a version of Steve Rogers with a baby. Obviously, the one where he lives a life with Peggy. What are we thinking about this, guys? Is this a big deal? Is it not a big deal?
I mean, it's clearly a big enough deal for Marvel to bring back people that they were done with. So, that's got to matter for something. But we had a conversation about this. We've talked about it off and on for a while. Grayson, you swore up and down that they would come back, or that he would come back, and we kind of said, I don't ever see it happening. But clearly, Marvel has different plans for that. So, look, the only thing I can say, and this isn't a negative or a positive thing, I hope they know what they're doing, because in the past 5 or 6 years, they've screwed up just about everything except for 2 movies I can think of. So.
And even that's kind of iffy as well.
Well, I mean, the 2 of them that you can say that they didn't screw up. They didn't screw up Spider-Man, the one with Doctor Strange.
Okay, yeah.
And they didn't screw up Deadpool and Wolverine. And they only get half credit for that. So
correct.
Fair.
Everything else has been kind of a mess. So
we had a little discussion before we started recording. But on top of that, it's no secret that I am not high on Marvel anymore. I'm not. Here's the thing, especially with this
season,
especially with this Avatar film, I am also going to take some pot shots at who I thought was a filmmaker that could do absolutely no wrong in his writing. And I've always all funny aside, up until Avatar, I thought James Cameron had one of the. Now you can like him or hate him, you can hate corporate Hollywood, whatever, but the proof is in the pudding in his films. They're all, for the most part, excellent movies. And then Avatar comes along and kind of redefines and I have a little story I'm going to tell when we get to that, but Marvel's another one of those. I was really into it. For the majority of the Marvel runs, I thought, with some misses along the way, I thought they were weaving together a very cohesive story with heroes and villains that made me want to watch the next one. And when it came to Endgame, I can still watch that last hour sequence, and I still get chills thinking about good versus evil, good guy versus bad guys, a fight for freedom, a struggle for freedom when the bad guys are oppressive. That is the basis of Hollywood storytelling. They did a great job up to that point. I have to note that I think they did a wonderful job from 2008 to 2019 with, a few things in between that maybe weren't so great. However, fast forward the next 5 years is disappointment after disappointment after disappointment. And I'm talking from story points of view. I just don't understand why I understand why they made some choices. I don't agree with it. As far as filmmaking 101 is concerned, schools don't agree with it either. Trust me on that. I mean, you want to pull up a chair and find out what you don't know? You're welcome to. But I'm surprised at this move. I think it's a good move for Marvel. I think it's a surprising move for Marvel. And despite what I might say all this time about Marvel, I do want them to get back on track. Roger says it all the time. If we're going to watch it, which we will, just make it good. Just, I mean, and this is kind of a combination of Roger and Chris. I'm kind of stealing what they say is, if you make a good movie, people will show up for it. And I know Chris recently has been that's kind of been his logic towards. I know Chris and I did an episode talking about Infinity Castle. What was the name of that, Chris?
Demon Slayer Infinity Castle.
Demon Slayer, and it was a good story that made sense with characters that worked in universe how they should, and that's an example to me of. And I'm not an anime guy, and I was really into that. Am I going to watch all 10,000 episodes to catch up? Not a chance, Chris. Sorry, buddy, but I watch the movies. I will do that for you. But that's what I think about Marvel is if they've made a good movie and are able to somehow get back on track, I'm all for it. I don't hate to hate. I want better from Marvel. They have all the money. They have all the resources. You should not be making movies as you are. Period. That's just what I want to say. So,
I mean, I think that they can make whatever movies they want to make, but they have to deal with the movies that they make and what they do. So,
sure,
it's they're. I don't think that the Steve Rogers reveal means anything as a reveal. I think that it depends on what they do with it and why they're doing it. There's a really good chance that it's a 3-minute thing in a 2.5 hour movie. You know what I mean? Like, we don't know what we don't know what it is. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know why it's there. We don't know.
That'd be a hell of a thing.
I mean, we saw the cast chairs, right? We saw the cast list that they showed us, and now we're getting other things, which are probably decisions made after the fact. But like, what are they going to do with Professor X again? Kill him again? He's died in the last 4 appearances he's been in. He's died 4 times.
He's died, you know what I mean? Like Wolverine, and that's an impressive amount.
Yeah, so it's like so like he's Professor X is in Doomsday. What happens there? I don't care who they have in their films. It doesn't change what the product is, right? Like, I just want them to change
what the product is. That's the problem.
Well, it does change no. It changes the ingredients. It doesn't. Sure,
that's what,
right.
That's what I meant. Is
yeah.
That's exactly what I meant. Is yeah.
No, if they want to bring Steve Rogers in for an impactful, emotional moment between a couple of characters, and that's all it's there for. If they do it right, it doesn't matter. If they want him in there for 45 minutes of beating the shit out of people, as long as they do it right, then it doesn't matter. But it's why are the decisions being made? What does it mean that they're there? And is this a studio decision that's desperate and floundering for its audience to come back after they won't take accountability for the shit they've done wrong leading up to this point? Or is this them honestly looking back going, okay, we need to find whatever magic we lost and get that rolling again. And maybe this is like their step 2 and 3 to making that come to fruition. Either way, we won't know till we see it, but
I hope it's the latter. I mean, honestly, I hope it's the latter. What you said is they realize where their missteps are, and they needed to, because they need to. I mean, we got the teaser that we did. That was fan service teaser for everyone, because I mean, no one that laments current Marvel was saddened to see Steve Rogers back in the thing. I mean, Chris Evans is one of the best actors they ever had anyway. So it's a big deal. I think it was one of the best things, and I feel like I'm a good barometer for that, because like I thought there was nothing they could do that would bring me back, and that's one thing they did. I thought interesting, because this version of Steve Rogers, does he remember what they went through, the struggle, or did he go back? His mind went with him.
No,
I mean, we'll have to wait and see. I mean,
the real question is, do you think he still has Mjolnir?
No.
Why not?
Why would he have Mjolnir?
He left with Mjolnir.
No, I don't think he has it. But the real question is, what does he know, and how big of a role does he play? How big of a role does Steve Rogers' kid play? And
I think the Steve Rogers are going to give us, even though there's a chance that it is a different one. I think this is our Steve Rogers. This is the one that went. Yeah, this is the one that went back and stayed. So he will know everything that the current cast has gone through. With Thanos and all of that. Like it is that Steve Rogers is what I would put my money on. I could be wrong, but it doesn't make any sense for them to bring back just a Steve Rogers that also
that would be hilarious.
Got the super soldier syndrome, that also went,
but he didn't crash.
Yeah.
He just made it to New York.
Yeah, so it's like it's like there's too many things in there, and then like for what purpose? So that he can hop in and throw the shield once or twice, and then be taken out by
you people who I don't know their first names of.
Yeah, it's just it doesn't make sense. So I like it's got to be hours, right? And just like there are things that will lead you to believe, what version of Tony Stark we're getting in Doomsday as
Sure,
Doctor Doom.
absolutely.
There's there's tons of stuff with that. So I just hope they put something together that's worth watching, and they got to get a lot of people real excited real fast because 1 year is not that far away, and I couldn't name you all the Marvel works from the start of of the end of Infinity War till now. I actually probably would miss so many of them because they haven't been impactful. I haven't rewatched most of the things on Marvel's list, and I'm their target audience. So.
However,
man.
the ones from 2008 to 2019, you've watched all of them multiple times, I'm sure.
Yep.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of what came out
About to
after
start watching them
Endgame now.
with my oldest.
Hmm.
I
Well, we
know,
gotta,
Roger?
we're gonna move
I'm
on, but
trying to think of the ones that came out.
Yeah. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
It's weird, right? Like,
Listen, I remember the really bad ones. Like
yeah.
Ant-Man Quantumania is awful movie.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you really start thinking, you'll be able to throw some names out there, but
Cat 4 is pretty bad.
a bunch of people could go back and fire off just tons of good ones from phases 1, 2, and 3.
I mean, Black
s-
Widow was
you know.
okay. That was okay.
Spider-Man: Far From Home, Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Doctor in the
Shang-Chi.
Rise of the Multiverse of Madness, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, Guardians Galaxy Volume 3, The Marvels, Deadpool
that
vs.
was a good movie.
Wolverine, Cap America: Brave New World, Thunderbolts, and Gemini Jim's listing Blade. Sorry, Gemini Jim.
There
you're
are
wrong about
there
this.
are only two movies
Fantastic
on
Four.
the.
Oh, yeah,
only
Fantastic
two
Four as well.
movies. There are only two movies on that list that are higher than sevens that you just named. Only two.
Which ones? Spider-Man
You
and what
mentioned
else?
you mentioned them earlier. Spider-Man
And Deadpool, Wolverine. Yeah,
Deadpool.
Okay, fair.
There's the only two that are even above a 7.
those are
I
only two.
like
Those are only two
Thunderbolt.
that are above a 5. Those are the only two that are above a
No,
5.
that's a little rough.
No, Spider-Man is definitely
Up
an
there.
8 or higher.
Yeah.
Same with
Sure.
Deadpool, Wolverine, whether you like it or not.
No,
It's-
those two. It's the other ones that don't. Those two, I mean,
Well,
yes.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
there's some that are better than 5s, but there's a lot of them that aren't.
Yeah. So there's that list, and also Fantastic Four. It didn't mention. Gemini Jim didn't mention. So
And
Yeah.
that was okay.
That one's okay.
I mean,
It's not great.
I mean, here's the thing: it's not a 5. It's higher than that. Not
Yeah,
significantly.
It's like
But
it's
6
like
and a
a
half,
6 or
7, sure.
Yeah.
I wouldn't argue that.
so
You told me it was a 10, I'd be like, what the
Obviously, the standouts are Spider-Man then, and what was the other one?
Deadpool,
Yeah,
Wolverine.
of course. I think so. That's
Yeah.
well, guys. Let's move on.
Yeah. What we got?
Past this. Well, it's my week for a recommendation, and of course, I am James Cameron centric right now. I love
Mhm.
the man, so let me write this time code down just so I can have it 25. Okay, so
Mhm.
I wanted to say something within the James Cameron universe. I didn't want to do. I thought about it a lot. I mean, Avatar, I could have right on the cusp been okay, saying you should take a look at again. I think the first Avatar is leagues ahead of what's come after it. But it's also, I know Chris and I had a little discussion, Roger, yesterday before we signed off for the evening. It's also the simplest, and it's easy to make a simple movie strong because there's not a lot of moves. Wait, what? What's going on?
Also very simple because it's just the story of Pocahontas.
Well, I didn't want to say that, but yeah.
I mean, I will say it.
But it's the one that started it all. I think it's got some of the strongest ideas in it. But I mean, we can talk about all that in a minute. But I want to go back to one of the original James Cameron films that I think I've met some people in the production office that I'm working on the Apple feature for that haven't seen early James Cameron films, and I wonder as to the caliber of the new generation of film students and film kids excited to work on these projects, because I've met two of them that have no idea how to talk about the original Terminator, which I think is one of Cameron's strongest films in his entire filmography from 1984. I think this is one of his best, and it comes from a different time. It comes from people making a craft that know how to make a craft, James Cameron being one of them. It's one of the movies I first fell in love with James Cameron, separating him from a lot of other filmmakers at the time, even for me. But Dad was a huge fan of it, so he got me into it. The cast, obviously, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Linda Hamilton, Michael Biehn, Lance Henriksen was in this one. Paul Winfield. A lot of people that come and go through the James Cameron lexography. Even a younger Bill Paxton is in the beginning of this Terminator as well. But it's
Feels close.
yeah, it's the original Terminator is about a robot assassin that goes back in time to kill the woman who gives birth to the savior of the human race, John Connor, aka James Cameron, aka Jesus Christ, all JC in name. And it's about a man who goes back. Kyle Reese is a man who volunteers to go back just when Skynet has smashed, or they smashed Skynet. He volunteers to go back in time and protect John Connor as a man, very fallible, very killable, against a machine that cannot be killed with the 1984 weapons. And I think it's a hell of a movie. I've seen this movie so many times. I love everything about it. And when I got to college, thinking about it a little deeper, I love the fact that I could see one of my professors made the argument it's more of a love story than it is an action movie. And him and I had a good time hashing that out. And I think I don't know if he's like factually correct, but I see the argument, and I would absolutely agree with that. It is noted that Kyle Reese, played by Michael Biehn, who was also in Aliens, so it's like one of those, he's been in James Cameron things. They also frame it in the story in the art of a love story, which again creates the Terminator loop of it doesn't make any sense because loops have to start at a point, and of course this loop would never have started logically.
It's a paradox.
Yeah. But if you have not seen Terminator and you're a fan of James Cameron, if you're a fan of Avatar, boy, you only have up to go. So check out other James Cameron stuff. And I don't say that as an insult. I say that because his other stuff is just better. Even movies like True Lies, The Abyss. True Lies is
a hell of a ride. To lead a Battle Angel.
I don't consider that a James Cameron movie, but
I mean, he put his name on it.
Yeah, his name's on Dark Fate too, but we don't, that's not a him. But the Terminator is on Netflix right now and Pluto TV if you have that. So if you have those, it costs you nothing to check it out. If you're a fan or you're younger, haven't seen it, or it's been a while since you've seen it, give it a shot. I promise you'll remember how good James Cameron can be. And two scenes I want you to inside the bar or inside the nightclub, the very 80s nightclub. See how all the editing goes together, all the sound, how the sound drowns out, and then the song comes up is "You Got Me Burning," and then the Terminator zeroing in on Sarah Connor pulling out the gun, and then Michael Biehn at the counter, and then a shootout ensues, and then that very famous line, "Come with me if you want to live," and it's just, oh my goodness, it is a love letter to another time of films. It is a love letter to another time, but check that out if you haven't seen it for a while. You will not be disappointed.
And then after you watch that, go watch the better movie in Terminator 2.
I said, okay. So I wasn't going to derail the conversation, but I was going to be like, I have no problem with you picking Terminator, but like I consider Terminator 2 the better film there, and I think most people kind of do. So I was kind of surprised you picked that one instead of Judgment Day.
I think this is Terminator. This is Terminator 2. I think Terminator edges. I think because Terminator, and because something we're going to talk about with Avatar is Terminator 2 opens up the scope and the story and the legend so far that even as masterfully as it's handled, it's hard to keep it simple and as honed in as the much less large scale Terminator. And because of that, you can be stronger in your dialogue. You can be stronger in your editing and your music choices and what the characters say. It's easier to be stronger, but it's the same guy. So, I mean, he gets all the credit for those. And that's one of the movies that made him the king of sequels, which makes Avatar: The Way of Water and Fire and Ash that much more disappointing to me because they just don't live up to They don't live up to.
I will say that Terminator 2 beats Terminator in both Rotten Tomatoes and in IMDb ratings by 1 point each. But on Metacritic, Terminator 2 has like a 74, and Terminator 1 has like an 85 or something. So
there we go.
Metacritic has it, but the user scores are very different. User score has Terminator at like 79 and has Terminator 2 at 91. So it depends on where you're looking and who's talking about it.
I have one more Terminator question. This is not a shot because so one of the things, Grayson is a big James Cameron fan, and so like me and Chris make fun of him all the time for some of the terrible Terminator things that have come like later on because there's been some really bad movies. The question I want to ask, and I mean this in all seriousness, Like, I think Terminator 3, I think is an okay movie. Like,
It
I
is
think
now.
it's pretty good. Well, okay. Fair.
It wasn't
I
at the
think Terminator.
time.
Yeah, I think Terminator 3 was tough for people that love Terminator 2 and
Mhm.
1 and 2. I think that without if Terminator 3 came out and Terminator 1 and 2 never happened and Terminator 3 happened in a way that like the story could have been like the first one, I think it'd have been fine. I think people would have enjoyed it, but I think it
Okay.
was the expectation of what came before that really gave
The bar was
film a
so
hard
high.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
It,
that's Star Wars
it,
about
it,
that. It's real easy to keep going, isn't it? Just keep
It
Well,
really-
that's
yeah.
Terminator 3 is as good as the Star Wars prequels. Like they were both shit, and now in hindsight, because the movies that came after, you're like, you know what? That's okay. Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Give me old
Right.
Annie. You know what I mean? Give me old Annie boy.
Yeah.
And just as a little one last thing I want to say, I think Terminator 2 might have the perfect cinematic ending in all of cinema, in all of
Yeah,
it. And
when he's
there-
lowered into the
it's-
steel.
It's hard to beat Terminator 2's ending. It really
Well-
is just a good solid ending to it.
Well,
To a
the
two movie part.
the idea that the Terminator becomes more human than human. He understands the value of a human life. He understands why John Connor was crying, why that's a big deal. I know now why you cry, but it's something I can never do. And then, of course, I wonder if that movie was structured a little differently and you didn't have the Brad Fiedel score behind it, because that's part of the emotional lowering into the lava that's so great that movies have tried to emulate that hundreds of times, and they've tried to emulate the car going down the open road at night with the headlights, and like, oh, well, that shows you that now we're free and nothing's coming now. Well, yes, I get it, but it all started from that, and just that's got to be the perfect ending.
We're still pumping out Terminators.
Well,
Yep.
funny story. He wanted to quit.
How many
after two.
Terminator movies are there now? Are there 6?
Six?
There's
Seven?
Terminator, Terminator 2, Terminator 3, Terminator 4, Salvation. Well, just Terminator Salvation. And then there was Genesis
Dark Fate, right?
and Dark Fate. But there's that show, Sarah Connor Chronicles, and there's the Netflix show.
Mhm.
So there's
So
plenty
Terminator
of.
Zero, which is
Yeah.
awesome, by the way.
It is good.
Yeah,
It is.
That
watch
shit
Zero.
rules. That shit rules.
There is lots of Terminator content if you want to get caught up and like kind of understand.
Some
the
of it's
lexicon.
okay. Most of it's not.
Well, even Salvation these days, like again, like Dark Fate was so bad that it made Salvation watchable again for me, and that's bad because it just wasn't. But anyway, moving on.
Okay.
And let you guys have a final comment.
No,
on
watch Terminator. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
it really
it
is though. It is fantastic.
Yeah, agreed.
All right. Write down 5245, 52. Okay. Let's talk about Avatar. And this is going to be an extended conversation going into Avatar Fire and Ash. The Avatar phenomenon. Is it still a thing? And what does it mean now that we've seen the box office considerably lower than the past? It's not going to it's not going to hit the two. I don't think it hits the $2.5 billion mark.
No.
I don't think, unless the international markets pick up the slack in a huge way, I don't see this one doing that kind of business. But the reason I think this is a very pertinent conversation is because we are where we are with Netflix trying to acquire a studio. We are where we are with declining box office for years and people arguing that theater relevance has gone way down for years and years. What do you guys think about this?
All right, so I'll go first if you guys don't mind.
Of course.
So I think with Avatar in general, the idea of Avatar is incredible, right? The execution of Avatar is less incredible at this point. And I will give them all the props in the world, especially when it comes to Fire and Ash. Avatar looks incredible, like visually stunning. Like the amount of CGI in this movie, I mean, like 150% CGI here. You know, it looks so good. And yet the story can't seem to match it anymore. Because like in the first one, and I already made the joke of Pocahontas, but in 2008, when Avatar came out, like we'd never seen anything like it before. We had never seen a world built like that looked the way that it does. And then, all these years later, we get Way of Water. The story comes through, and it's not quite as good as the first one, sure, whatever, but man, the leap forward in technology to make it somehow look even better than what it looked like, those 15 whatever plus years ago is like, wow, I can't believe they keep doing this. And then this one, it's been a couple of years since, and we're pushing things forward, and it still looks really, really good. And I think now the story's kind of catching up to, and people are like, it doesn't really match what I'm thinking it should look like, or the story is just not as good. And I think from the perspective of the movies, is critically it's not as good. You're not going to get as many people coming back to see it for a second or third time this time. It's just not going to be a thing. They're going to watch it one time and move along. And I don't know if that's necessarily movie fatigue at this point. It's just we've seen what Avatar can be, and this doesn't press that forward. Like if the movie looked this good and had like an award-winning caliber story, I think we'd be having this entire conversation be different tone.
Of course.
Like Avatar looks awesome. Like I cannot stress that enough. Like it looks like a video game in real life on a level that we have never seen before. And the story is just not propelling it forward enough. And it sucks that it's that way. Because look, this movie's really long. They're all really long. And you can't skate by on, hey, it looks really good for that long at this point. So that's my 2 cents on that.
That's good. That's a good 2 cents.
Yeah. So I don't disagree with what you said. A good bit of that is things I've been saying about Avatar, for a long time. I'm the resident Avatar hater, right? And I think hate's a strong word here, but I've never been impressed by these movies since I've seen them. But here's the truth. There's about there's $3.2 billion worth of reasons why I'm wrong. And that's fine. I have no problem with that, but
closer
Avatar,
to 4, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Avatar comes out 2009 and does something that we've never seen before. It did something. It pushed the boundaries.
Incredible.
Way of Water came out more than a decade later and did it again, pushed boundaries somehow. Now you have a movie that came out a couple years later and hasn't pushed any boundaries. So, and there's nothing wrong with that. But in what world are we going to look at a film that has a mediocre story, that the crux of Avatar has always been, no one talks about these movies once they're here and gone. They don't stick
not
with
the story part of it anyway.
Not even the visual. No one talks about it.
Oh, I think people still talk about how amazing it looks. I think that's still a conversation people have.
I have a couple friends, right? In my life,
just us
from yeah, but outside of this circle.
Okay.
I have friends. They see movies from 2009 until this moment. I've had zero conversations with anyone about Avatar. Not a single one, besides, the couple of guys that I'm here talking about movies with on a podcast. And I'm not saying that, my circle is correct, but I'm an average movie dude, and I've talked to many people in 15 years, and not a single time have I talked about Avatar. And I think it's because the visuals, the visual spectacle that Avatar is, only goes so far, and that's in the immediate. It's there in front of you. You're seeing it. It's not out of sight, so it's not out of mind. But the second that the visuals are gone, Avatar doesn't leave you with anything profound to hang on to think about, to go forward with on the next conversation. If you want to talk about James Cameron and him as a director, yes, because that's a skill that's intangible and you can't see that until you can look at his body of works and what he's shown you. And that's something you talk about in an abstract. Avatar itself doesn't do anything different in the storytelling space besides look very good. And it does do that. I say all that to say this. In what universe are we saying that a $1.4 billion at least tracking movie is a failure? You know what I mean? This movie is going to make 1.5. Well, it's just going to happen.
Is failure the right term, though?
Disappointment, I think, is more the right term.
Okay, fine. In what world is $1.5 billion a disappointment? That is an insane statement.
Well, I mean, is
a lot from your throat.
a lot of people say they hate Transformers, and those are awful, but they all broke the $1 billion mark. Except the
all
first
of
one,
them.
which is
Almost
the
all
best
of them.
one.
And if someone ever told me that Transformers was unsuccessful, I would tell them that they're stupid.
Well, but you're
for that same reason.
But
I mean, you're right though. It's not unsuccessful. Isn't the right metric for that? Like good,
Yeah.
good is a different story.
Of course,
yeah.
that's what you're conflating the two as the same argument. I don't think they are the same. I mean, that's why. Like, I mean, I like to correct people whenever they talk about, oh, that second Transformers film, Oscar-winning Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen. I'll have you know, it's
true.
But it did like $1.2 billion. It's a big deal. This one though, I can only speak
One of
for
the worst
myself.
movies I've ever seen in my fucking life. By the way,
I love it though. You were talking about Transformers, or
Atrocious
Avatar.
piece of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, both.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. I had Transformers.
Yeah, well, it did some cool. It had some great moments, but mostly it was just not great.
No,
But
it's really bad.
for someone like me here, who's always idolized Cameron and looked at him as, other directors may fail me, but James Cameron will never fail me. Well, he's failed me, but so did Ridley Scott with Gladiator 2 last year. I've watched Gladiator 2 a number of times, and I like it more and more each time, only because like I'm trying to find reasons to not hate it, and I do. It's more likable every time I watch it. Some of the choices they make, I'm now kind of okay with, although it like I just historically fucking makes no sense who's in charge.
You're just getting used to the abuse that you're putting yourself through.
Well, hold on.
That's what's happening.
Can I make one comment about Gladiator 2?
Yeah.
Gladiator 2 is a fine movie if it wasn't fucking called Gladiator 2.
That's right.
Yeah.
But
If it was just called like Centurion or some shit like that, you'd be like, this movie's awesome. Hell yeah,
Blood in
dude.
the Coliseum.
Yeah,
something
right,
like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah,
Fucking
brother.
rules.
Like, shit rules.
Blood in the Coliseum.
No.
You had what's the 80s guy? Who was the 80s guy? Not the joke's gone now. And anyway,
Okay.
It's
okay.
what was that guy's name? He was Jean-Claude Van Damme as one of the
Sure.
gladiators.
Okay,
Sounds like a Steven Seagal movie, doesn't it?
Yeah.
He does a weird split.
Here's the thing about
somewhere in there. Yeah.
here's the thing about it's just I expected all the talk, all the chatter over the past few weeks of, James Cameron, like, well, this is the darkest one. It is the one with the most action. It's like, well, Chris brings up a good point. Is there's a reason that maybe he was saying that, and now we've seen the movie, and we can agree on it's just not as strong as he wanted it to be. And
There is a lot of action in it, though.
But for me, a lot of the characters and their motivations and the things they do don't make any sense. And we'll get to that. But why that's so disappointing for me is that's not usual in a James Cameron movie. That is just, it's so far off the beaten path for what I have always gotten from him that it almost seems like maybe maybe the billions he has from his movies, he's like, whatever, as long as the script works, people don't ask too many questions, I'm fine with it. Green light. Like it seems to me that writing is no longer his number one prerogative. He's trying to make the best look, and he has. I mean, there's no movie in the world in the next 30 years that will look like this. It just maybe 30, maybe 10.
30 is a little intense.
30's a lot.
10.
I mean,
I'm still thinking.
I'll give you a handful of years, sure.
So I mean, I don't disagree with
There'll
what
be
you're
3
saying.
more Avatars by then, by the way.
Yeah, like I don't disagree with what either of you guys are saying, but I still want to just circle back to the point that like this thing's gonna make 1.5 at least.
Maybe
like it's what world are we living in that is a disappointment? Like this, and it's already been confirmed that that Way of Water paid for everything after Way of Water is pure profit. So you're talking about a $1.5 billion win at minimum for Cameron, the studio, everyone involved that's getting paid for this thing. So like expectations being what they are, James Cameron can have his expectation for his work all he wants. It's his prerogative. It's his work, and that's his passion. I get it, but in reality, we still created something that could fund the next 4 movies in this franchise that it wants to go forward with. I don't understand how we can look at this and say, "Oh well, that's disappointing." I mean, what did you expect when you came out with a movie with a 10-year plus gap, then go to a 3-year gap? And you haven't made many changes, and you told the same story. Like,
well, the story's different.
At?
Story's different, except they took the first story and the second story and merged them together into the third story.
So how
Like they
different
thought
can it
that we
be,
wouldn't
brother?
notice that. Like,
Well,
so
well, okay, well,
that's where it becomes disappointing to me, though. It's like,
Mm.
yes, I understand this movie's going to make a ton of money, and visually, again, stunning. It's just knowing how big of a deal that this could be or should be. I don't think it gives it the excuse to be so. Poorly written isn't the right term, but lackluster. Like, I think the easiest way to describe Avatar 3, Fire and Ash, or whatever we're actually calling it, is it's okay. Like, and if you don't count the visual side, it'll never be better than that. Like, there is not one part of this story that I'm just like, oh man, what a moment in this film, right?
but I think the first and second movie did have those. And keep in mind, we're still in the discussion of what this means for like the Avatar phenomenon and box office going forward. We're not quite in the discussion for Fire and Ash yet. However, but I think it matters because I don't know if it certainly matters because this gives more rise to the fact that theaters just aren't making as much money, when I'm not sure that's the case. I'm sure it's just a shifting world. Things are changing. Access to streaming films is more important to some families. Stuff like that I don't know if it's an indication of awful things. It might be showing us that it's continuing, but as far as what this means going forward I guess the question is, do we get 4 and 5? Do we not get them? Do we only get one mega movie, one 4.5-hour movie that combines 4 and 5? Do we get a book that James Cameron writes that connects all the threads and he moves on to something else? I mean, what do we get next? I guess that's the question.
I mean, he himself is kind of like cooled down that we need 10 Avatar movie or 5 Avatar movie train, right? And like so that to me kind of come out of nowhere, though.
No, so hold on. It's not out of nowhere. It's conveniently after this thing had test screenings and the chatter wasn't high on it.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
I mean,
you are correct.
Yeah.
Yes,
convenient.
So, yeah, it's again, he can have his own standards for what he wants his movies to be like for measurements of success, but are we going to get Avatar 4 and 5? That's literally up to the person who has the ability to take his ball and go home, and that's James Cameron. Where like, there's no studio that's going to look at the success of Avatar and say if we give this man $300 million, he will make us $1 billion back. Like that's the average of the spending to profit split, right? So like,
at least,
if we give him $450 million, he will probably make $1.25 billion. Like, there is not a studio on earth that would say no to him for these films right now, because this is still tracking to make more than $1 billion. So the answer is, will we get 4 and 5 if James Cameron wants us to?
Well, I would lay even money that we get it. I mean, they got to give us 4, right?
Hold on,
because the story's not closed.
No, it isn't. But we've gotten a number of franchises now that we didn't get any more of because they didn't make any money. Look at Harry Potter. Look at the prequels.
This one's going to make more money.
I want to bring up the example of Happy Death Day 2. We didn't get a third one because the $100 million in profit wasn't enough.
Sure.
Blumhouse said for a third movie.
That movie's awesome. You should see it.
Both those movies are great.
Excellent science fiction film.
I think there's something more to this. I think what the tea leaves are telling us is James Cameron was looking for a way out. Maybe he's looking for someone else to take a. Maybe he's looking for another director to step in. Well, he's done with this. I mean,
is it a director or writer?
I imagine that they're probably already. I imagine that the stories, at least in treatment form, have already been written out. Whether the script is done and penned, I don't know. But I imagine the story has been penned out already by the king himself, James Cameron. So I imagine that's already been done. At least a general outline of the story.
I would figure that's accurate. Sure.
I mean, this movie is opened harder than for first Avatar, less than Way of Water, but like, I don't understand why this movie wouldn't just continue to make the money it has in the past. Maybe not as much as Way of Water, but like how does every movie need to be an exponential increase in the amount of money it's made for it to be a positive win for James Cameron, for example?
In the eyes of the studio, yes, I can tell you from doing production accounting, absolutely.
Yeah, but I think he's got enough pull himself,
Well,
right?
hold on. So no, from an accounting standpoint, I don't even agree with that. And not to go against like you and your profession, Grayson, but like I'm thinking about it. Like, so the measurement of success would be we spend if we spend $500 million on a movie, it has to make, because the last one made 2.5, this one has to make 2.7. When you're still making X amount of profit, the only goal has to be, like a minimum profit number, right? Which, if
There's got to be a
if you
floor, sure.
yeah, if you spend 5 and advertise for 4, and you make 1.5 billion, that has to be a positivity like sector for the business side of things and the accounting side of things, right? Because
Yeah, but
everyone's paid, everything's paid for. Now it's now you've made your money.
well, I think it's bigger than that though. Like just making money doesn't necessarily mean the studios hit the number goal that they wanted. I mean,
Mhm.
we've seen that. So we have seen things be enormously successful, and they still cut it off because, we wanted more money out of it, and it's just not worth the hassle to keep doing it. Because I think that's a big part of Avatar as well, is you know the story part aside, to make Avatar, it's a long process
Mhm.
because it's all computer, it's all CGI, and like there's only so many people that can do that to the level that Avatar, is. I'm assuming. I mean, think about it. Even we already talked about Marvel today, but I mean, we've had conversations before about how bad CGI has gotten on an industrial level at some point. And then for Avatar just to keep plugging along that they are, like, they might have to be paying these people very, very well to do that. And it's got to be a huge time sink. It's got to.
And a money sink.
Sure.
But I mean, there's going to be a point where these things stop. If this is the most expensive one they shot so far. That much I found out over the weekend, and I'll get into that in a minute. But this is the most expensive one, and if the profit ratio isn't as high, then I mean that is a number, that is data you can extrapolate. It's like it is there for studio execs to read if they want to read it or not. But that's part of the whole tea leaves thing. I don't believe there's people less interested. I believe that's people, because out here, for example, and I don't know if this is the same for many people around the world, but in big cities, it's not just the cost of the movie. There's a cost of parking. There's a cost of
Mhm.
not getting out under 3 hours to validate your parking. There's a cost of probably some babysitters for families. Like it's a additional. So this isn't a $15 movie. This is like if you're taking a date, if you're a babysitter, parking. This is like $150 movie, a movie night for you, and that's
Yeah.
for theaters. That's probably not great. But
Yeah, but so is the question, is the movie a success? Is the movie a disappointment? Or is it like, or should the expectations of what profitability looks like be curbed? Because it's no one's fault that you're releasing your film in a time where things are tight.
Sure. Right, that's a very fair statement.
no, but
and
in a world where theaters are the world's experiencing change with how they consume media, then so does the model of how you make your money back. Something we don't know how things are monetized on Disney Plus, Netflix, whatever.
yeah.
We don't know the answer to that riddle. We never will. So maybe there's going to be extremely, because this will do very well on Disney Plus. This will do phenomenal for years to come. People
yeah.
will watch it and watch it and watch it and watch it. So there's just that. But we should hop into the movie proper though. But just keep in
Okay.
mind when we're talking about the movie, like what this means for Avatar going forward, because it's, as of right now, it's not making the money that I hoped that it would. I was hoping for a $500 million worldwide weekend, and it's nowhere close. So
That'd have been the strongest opening weekend for a film ever, right? Like,
well, if one's gonna do it, James Cameron certainly is the guy that might be able to pull that off. But we will see.
Zootopia's in the house, so probably not.
Yeah, so let's look at some numbers. And for reference, the first Avatar 2009, tomato meter of 81 and a popcorn meter of 82. So that's pretty even across the board. Metacritic of 83. That's pretty high.
It's a pretty good number.
Avatar, 12 years later or 13 years later, Rotten Tomatoes of 76, popcorn meter of 92. So audience is down, critics are up.
Wait,
And
I think you said that backwards.
no, audience is less on it, critics are higher on it. Right?
Oh.
Is that how it goes?
Read it again.
Oh, the tomato. Oh, no. critics are less on it. People were higher on it. Okay, that's what makes it.
yes.
And then this one, the Metacritic for Way of Water is far less at 67. I'm not sure I agree with that, but that is what the Metacritic is. Can't argue that. And then this one, for example, Fire and Ash, the numbers are, the tomato meter is 66, the popcorn meter is 91. So people are loving this one more than the other two. And the Metacritic is sitting at, this is the lowest Metacritic, 61.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean, that feels about right.
Honestly, the Metacritic tracks, because like if I had to gun to my head, order these in like, you know, best to worst, this one's going to be the third one that I say. So
Yeah, it would still be 1 and then 2 and then 3, or would you?
for me, I don't care. So like I think Way this is funny. I think Way of Water is a worse movie than Avatar by far, but I would rather watch Way of Water more than I would watch Avatar. And maybe that's the visuals in it. Maybe that's, you know, like you know, because they are better and it just it's prettier to look at for that long. While
That's an interesting way to look at that. Yeah,
I agree with the fact that the Metacritic for Way of Water is so much lower than the first Avatar, but I think I'd rather watch Way of Water if I had to pick the two.
Looks better.
So, yeah,
it's correct.
Yeah.
Well, see, the thing is, the first one I think is the strongest, but I don't. That's the one I want to watch the least. There's the least amount of action in it.
Yeah, okay.
So I mean, that's just what it is. But
yeah, I think mine it'd be 1, 2, 3 for me. But then you're probably right. Well, the other thing too is like with Fire and Ash, like I'm excited to watch Fire and Ash again, like just to check it out.
Yeah.
I mean, because like it does look really, really good, and the action is pretty solid in this movie. It's the rest of it that is lackluster.
Well, it's like I think my kids are gonna like Avatar, like especially my oldest, right? So like I will watch the 3 films with my oldest at some point, and you know if she wants to and she's digging it. But like I think that I like the way that they play with the elements more in this in the Way of Water. Like that's what I expected out of this one, and we didn't get that at all. But like I enjoyed that, and there's bigger moments in Way of Water than in any of these, and I think the moments in Way of Water, you know, whether they're manufactured, forced, or what have you, there's still bigger moments, I think, emotionally, and you know, I think that's the most interesting parts of these films so far.
Well,
and maybe that's because I'm looking for something great within these films, and that's the best that I'm getting. But
well, no, you're not wrong, and I think the moment in Way of Water when towards the end when they've lost their son and Sully, the Marine in Sully has to bring back Natiri and saying, I need you here now or we all die. We grieve later, we fight now. Is that the moment you're talking about?
I mean, that is one of the big moments in Way of Water. There's a couple of them, right? Like there's the realization of why the tuk or whatever it's called is helping them, you know, and like what its situation is, and the bonding with, you know, how like those people bond with, you know, with the creatures around them. There's a lot of things in Way of Water that are just, I think, on a bigger scale than in Avatar.
Well, that's the moment for me in Way of Water, and in Avatar, aside from being like the initial like whoa, what am I watching kind of moment, is of course the I see you in the end with Natiri and Jake, and you know Jake become like, that's the moment for me, is because the first one's, I think, like Terminator kind of skirts that line. Like I would see the argument for being a love story. The others are not, but the first one I would see that argument. And this one, can you think of a moment in this film that stands out to you? I, unfortunately, after seeing it twice now, cannot.
There's things in this movie that stand out to me that I don't like.
But is there a moment?
I don't think that's the question he's asking.
Standout moments? I don't think so. And I think that's because I think that whether it was the storyboarding or the execution, I think we're robbed of a lot of things that could have been or should have been big moments that could have been different. Grayson, you and I talked a little bit about that last night, where like there were just moments in this that like just don't understand why certain decisions were made or not made.
They rang very false.
Yeah, it's interesting that they didn't go down some very obviously like made for you paths or big movie moment paths and such. So, but we can touch on those once we get to like that part of the conversation.
Yes.
I don't want to
let's go over some particulars
down that
real
way
quick.
yet.
Yep.
Obviously, Avatar: Fire and Ash, massive release, doing very well, gangbusters. Directed by James Cameron. Of course, you know the cast. You should. A lot of them reprise their roles. Sam Worthington, Zoe Saldana, Stephen Lang, Sigourney Weaver, Una Chaplin as a Varang. Do you guys know who that is?
Varang.
Who is that?
I
Like
did.
the person. I'd be
I
surprised
did.
if you in Game of Thrones. Who is she?
No idea.
I'd be
I
surprised
don't
if
know
you
who
did.
she is in Game of
She was
Thrones.
Robb Stark's wife that gets killed at the Red
Okay.
Wedding. Sorry,
Oh.
spoilers
Yeah.
from 20 years ago. Kate Winslet, Joel David Moore, Cliff Curtis, CCH Pounder, Edie Falco, Jermaine Clement, Giovanni Ribisi, which is a shell of his former character, and I hate that. But and David Deluis, we see for a few minutes, and then he's gone. Talk about bringing actual gravitas on screen, and then nope. I assume he'll be a big deal in 4 and 5, but we got a kind of an introduction to him, and now he's just gone after a few minutes. But let's talk about it. Chris, you want to lead us in with thumbs up, thumbs down?
Yeah. So this is Avatar, Fire and Ash. Did we like it? Thumbs up or thumbs down? In 3, 2, 1.
It's a thumbs up for me. I think
Yeah.
I almost gave it a thumbs down. The last 2 days I've been kind of back and forth on it, but I
mean,
just texted.
I will say, like, this isn't like one of those things where like I could be in the middle. This is just the most mediocre thumbs up I can give. If that
It's
makes
the
any sense.
okayest
Like,
Avatar movie
yeah.
I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And
Like,
I saw it. So I saw this once in IMAX 3D, which was incredible. I mean, just
Mhm.
fucking mind blowing, man. And then the second time I saw it, I was given a gift. A buddy of mine's in the DGA, and he got tickets for him and his partner. And he knew he knew that I'm a huge James Cameron fan and would have benefited from this. So I went to a screening where we watched the movie, and James Cameron and some of the big creative people came out, and there was a discussion panel. And when he was exiting, I got to touch him with my hand, which is a big deal for me, massive deal for me.
Okay.
But he was surrounded like the Messiah he is, and it was. I mean, when I say people like ran to him and like swarmed him, I mean just that. I was not one of the. I stood in the back, but then when he was like starting to leave, but he was trying to like look everyone in the eye for like 1 second. It's like thank you. And that's bad press to not do that. But I just I stood there, put my hand out, and he did this thing where like he just did this like touched it. So I'm like, look, it's fine by me, whatever. So that was really cool. I got to listen to them to them talk about the production side of it for I think it was like 30 minutes, which is really cool because that's really inside baseball, even for me, because I don't know the ins and outs of Avatar, and it's very different than motion capture. It's very different. So, but it was really cool to hear some of that stuff. But so my experience, I got to see it once in 3D IMAX and then once just in 3D. So on the Disney lot in the original animation studio theater as well. So that's
Nice.
pretty cool.
That's
Yeah.
rad.
Nice.
So I didn't mean to hijack the conversation, but I think
No, you're
that
good.
as a barometer, I think I'll be pretty important in the 30 or 40 minutes going forward, because I mean, there's no bigger James Cameron fan. I have to be among the biggest. I have to be in that 1 or 2% that just idolizes the shit out of James Cameron. I have to be. So for me to say what I'm about to say about some of the story beats is a little painful for me because I never wanted to admit it. But
I mean, just tell the truth. Like the story, it's weak. It's the
it
weakest
is
part of the movie.
It absolutely is. But I mean, when it was also the weakest part of Avatar, like the original, which is the strongest. Also, is you're going for the visual, for the spectacle that was Avatar, the 3D spectacle that was. You weren't going for the story. But so part of my beef is a lot of the characters, they don't make any sense in the universe that we've been given. And the one red flag to me, I know Chris and I talked about this last night, is it comes not too far after the beginning. I like how we're opening with the dead son again to remind us, oh yeah, that happened. It was traumatic. The brothers were close, and now they can only see each other in this kind of weird, limited thing. And then not too later after that, we get into this moment where a caravan that they're protecting is attacked. And again, after having a conversation with the dead brother, the alive brother realized when he explains to his brother why he died, when he asked, he said, "We went back to save Spider, and you died." And the brother who's dead says, "Okay, then we had to go back. There was no choice." Which, okay, I thought that's a very mature response.
Absolutely.
And then, so the older brother's actions, or the younger brother's actions, led to the older brother being killed. Cut to 20 minutes later when they're under attack on a raided ship, is He then disobeys order from Jake again, a military Marine leader, and again goes off on his own, putting his family in danger. And I thought, that's a really weird. We've already been over that. I don't know that he would have made that choice given the heavy price he paid for it last time. To me, that was a first red flag, like major red flag. But did you guys have an earlier one, or was that the first one for you as well?
So I didn't watch the film in the same way that you did, probably. Like, I wasn't looking for like these like I didn't see anything like that stuck out to me, especially early on. I'm just trying to re-immerse myself in this, and such. But like, I I didn't forget that, that the brother died and such. But the movie, it's doing a good job of like bringing us back down that path. They obviously want to focus on the grief and how each family member is going to go through it differently, right? The younger brothers he's finding his way. Nateri is swallowed by her grief, and Sully is doing what a
Jake
soldier
things.
does.
He's doing Jake things.
He's taking care of business until he has no more business to take care of, and then and face it then. So it's a good beat to hit because it matters to the characters we've been following for 2 movies now into our 3rd film. It's when the film makes decisions that don't make sense to me, like things centered around Spider. Like Spider's been with him his whole life, essentially, correct?
Yeah.
You're just finding out 18 years later that his breathing might be a problem.
Well, I don't. That is weird that they haven't up until now had a problem with the breathing apparatus. But Spider, up until the last film, the majority of his life, he was with the humans. He wasn't, right?
I know, but
no, that's not necessarily true. But he was at where the lab was.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
That's okay. So he had access to breathing materials.
Yes, but it's just one of those things where it's
it was never a problem before.
Yeah, and all of a sudden it is a big enough problem to where Jake is willing to do is willing to do something about it. Send him away with the other people. It's these things that don't don't make sense to the characters that I've learned about. For 2 movies, it's been Sully stay together. And you can't point. I don't think you can point to the grief of the situation that they're all going through as like a reason why they'd be making the wrong decisions now. It's all of a sudden you're like the characters are changing their are going against their ethos.
Yeah.
And Nateri made the choice of Jake Sully in the first film, and now I understand
Human, pink skin.
I understand having to wrestle with the fact that you've lost your son to humans and there's hatred there, but like she's known Spider for a long
his whole
time.
life. His whole life.
And I can see where the film wants to have a catalyst in Spider to go to be the antithesis of her grief, but they never do that. She just hates him now, and nothing happens in this film to where like she realizes the error of that. It's Jake that decides not to kill Spider, right? It isn't Nateri. Nateri comes around, but it isn't her decision that changes anything. Spider doesn't help Nateri in the Lost City. That's not what happens to bring her around to it. She just kind of comes to that realization, or just forgets her hatred all of a sudden. There's just all of these decisions don't make sense to me. All of these decisions are poor. It's very hand wavy, and the movie just is desperately trying to get from point A to point D, and it wants you to care about points B and C. But we never really explore the things deeper in that could have been interesting, and we rush our way in a 3-hour plus movie to get to where we end up in this movie. And I don't know, it's very weird to me. All along the way, we could have had so many big story beats. They set a lot of stuff up and they never go through with it. They never, they never even try to do the trick to stick the landing. I think that's the thing that's interesting.
Well, we get the moments early on in the tent with Spider with the family and Nateri. We get the cutaway shots of Nateri not happy with this situation, which to me is setting up something. Either he's going to be responsible for another one of her children being killed, or he's going to save Nateri in a way that matters to Nateri and to us, because the Sullys are the people that we are rooting for, obviously.
Yeah, but Grayson, do those things happen?
Neither one of them, which makes, again, I expect this from regular directors. I don't expect this from James Cameron. To me, that's a simple oversight that people watching the movie are seeing. how did it escape his notice?
Well,
That's what I'm angry about.
now let me ask you this: in the first Avatar and the second Avatar, I don't think I saw any really big story moments in those either, besides what happens at the end of Way of Water. Nothing that's unique, nothing that tells me that James Cameron is a great storyteller. We don't get those in the first two films either. So
I would say we did. I would say there's a lot of it in the original Avatar. But again, I
one
don't
thing
think when that movie came out he intended for sequels when he was done. I think that all came way later.
I don't think we got any. I don't think we got big storytelling moments that were unique to him and his story. I think we got Pocahontas elements. I think
Well,
we
the
got.
big
I think
thing
we got
with
obvious story moments. I don't think we got anything that was unique or impactful, like in a way that makes Avatar different from all of the things out there.
I think
that's the
I think in the first film there was quite a bit that had his signature on it. I'd have to go back and like really sit down with it.
Yeah,
But I think
maybe.
I remember at the time I was thinking this is definitely a James Cameron film. I can tell from start to finish. The way the characters say, how they act, how they move on screen. Quaritch is a definite Cameron villain. I mean, and the fact that Sigourney Weaver was in it, and just very much all the drop ships, all the weapons, they came straight from Aliens, or at least similar designs from that military. Although it was never expanded, but in like popular Thor lore, it was expanded. But
but you're naming James Cameron villains. You're naming Sigourney Weaver herself, and you're naming these ships that look like aliens. So none of those things are unique. Those are all things that have happened before. Avatar hasn't done anything unique in the space, is what I'm saying.
well, no, I don't. But I mean, visually, that's got to be unique. But I mean, I don't think it's because no one goes to Avatar. No one went to Avatar thinking the story was going to be what propelled it. Everyone was going for the visuals. So I don't think he cared so much about the script as he had in the past. I think he was more focused on what this movie was going to look like and do for the future of mocap and CGI. I think that was part of his concern because I mean he's always been on the forefront of tech too for his films, which is a big deal.
Then why do we care about story elements in this one, if that's the case?
I think the overall thing, and I don't disagree with anything that you said here, Chris. Story wise, there's not much happening here at all. Okay, if like the entire story from Fire and Ash could be summed up in 30 minutes, like the actual things that happen. Okay. It really just is some amalgamation of everything that happened to Jake in the first movie happens to Quaritch in this movie. Okay. He joins a tribe, hooks up with a blue lady, living his best life. Right. And it all ends up where instead of having the other clans people be the one that challenge him like Jake, it's still Jake that challenges Quaritch to see more of the world, to get you to understand like there's so much more out here. Like we watch Quaritch, who is the most active character in this movie, like has the biggest story to tell. Like more stuff happens to him than anybody else. We see him go native, which is a line that he says verbatim to Jake in the first movie. Like we see it happen to him. And instead of having the people to challenge him like Natiri did, it's Jake steering him down that path. Okay. And for better or for worse, that's the story we get. The whole Sully tribe or whatever the clan, however they call themselves, not much changes from the end, from Way of Water to this, except Spider. And the whole stuff with Spider, like I'm very indifferent on, like the more human elements you add to Avatar, I think the worse the story gets. In Spider, I don't know if he's necessarily the exception, but they're clearly building a large part of the story around him for being the human Navi hybrid thing that he's becoming. Spoiler, like that's literally the biggest story beat of this movie.
Can we talk about that for a second?
I hate it.
It's
the fact that he's growing one of those things. I can be okay with him being able to breathe because the Earth gives it to him, but biologically, that doesn't make any sense.
So I agree. I buy the lungs thing. I buy him being able to breathe the air. I don't buy him growing a new cerebral cortex. I just don't. I don't know what the point of that is besides unless they looked at their storyboard and went, okay, we need to find a way to get Spider and Sigourney Weaver Blue-esque into the dream together. So how do we get there? And like they filled the gap.
I think the biggest reason for this, it's twofold. One, they give him I forget what's it called.
I don't remember what it's called.
Like they give it a technical name,
yeah.
but his tail, okay?
Yeah.
Or his ponytail or whatever it is,
Mhm.
right? So they want him to be able to commune with Awa, which
Mhm.
is something that happens in this movie, which is okay. There's a story beat I didn't expect. Okay. Legitimately didn't expect that.
For better or
And
for worse.
I also think that because of this, and I'm not trying to be weird, I think we're going to get down the line, we're going to get the human Navi baby hybrid thing.
Man,
It's like look, that's not a joke, but tell me that that's not where this story is going.
it is, but only because it sidestepped where the movie said it was going, which makes me even more angry, because we had the whole thing with Spider. What we had in the beginning with Spider, it was set up that there was a sacrifice coming and Spider was going to be the one to do it. Or the second sacrifice was what's the daughter's name that came from the Sigourney Weaver character? Is that Grace? Kiri. Or how many times this movie? I mean, you'd need two hands if you were told, oh no, she'll die if she goes underwater and connects. I mean, there's like 6 times that people say this. So I'm like, okay, well, she's going to have to commune with Awa, and then she's going to die while doing it. Both satisfying another Sully child dying and saving Spider, and that would have satisfied
or saving everybody.
Well, sure, which is what happened. The Awa heard you, which is a complete repeat from the first film.
Mm-hmm.
However, part of the problem with Spider now having a thing is that wasn't what the movie was telling us. And also, you're spitting in it's just in the universe that we have, and even in the first Avatar, I was under the impression that these science people were like top of their field. You're telling me no one's like, let's take a person out with a mask, connect him to the ground, and see what happens. You're telling me no one thought to just try it? That's the thing.
The one point of Avatar, which we don't really talk about too much when it comes to the story, is there is a deeply religious element to Avatar. I mean, same with it's a lot of James Cameron stuff. Like, he has some link to that, and Awa is godlike. Isn't the right term, I don't think, but I think bigger than that, like a celestial being or whatever it is,
like spirit mother.
Yeah, and they are just now broaching the power of that for the first time. So if you ever wonder what an Avatar 4 could look like, who knows? Because they can go any direction they want, because now they can just mutate themselves. Like, you have Kiri, who is don't mean this to be funny, but like a demigod, literally transformed a human being into a Na'vi, right? Has that kind of power, like some weird priest in the 17th century,
Which is funny because she's an abomination by all definitions, right?
Well,
she's not
I think they tried to clean that up here by saying she is the gift of Awa, because before that, they made fun of it, haha, Norm knocked your mom up before she gave birth. That's a joke that they keep making. And then she finally gets told hey, you're really, really special.
Yeah, but
it doesn't make sense that she's the one that can't talk to Awa. It doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense.
Can we talk about that scene for a minute when they do the Sullies never quit, let me pull you through the spirit world? Dude, that was dumb as hell. I'm just saying.
It was something that should have come in the 4th or 5th movie. We got it too early.
No, it shouldn't come at all.
Well, I don't agree with that, but communing with spirits is something that has been in the DNA of Avatars from the beginning.
That I'm totally okay with. But I have to have 2 other people pull me through this jungle forest to commune with our god that everybody else just sort of just taps into.
But that's the whole thing with. But then, if that would have made more sense if Kiri and the youngest daughter linked, realizing that Spider couldn't link, and then grabbed his hand, and all of a sudden it happened. That's where the magic comes in. That's the AWA part of it. Instead, we give Spider this stupid fucking tail, which makes
in the middle of his dreadlocks.
Which makes me like, look, Spider. I've hated Spider since the inception of Spider.
Dirty man dreads, white man with dreads is not. It's
two,
not something you should be celebrating.
Two movies now, I've hated Spider. I thought he was the most useless character, and I feel like we're now forced to like Spider in the same way that we were forced to like Jar Jar Binks. Remember the whole he's the key. We got to get him working, and he's the key.
I don't know if we need to throw Spider down that rabbit hole.
Well, I mean,
you're just being mean.
Spider's already kind of gone off track in what we were gonna get him anyway. It's like, because Quaritch is not the heartless hunter that he should be.
He's conflicted, man.
It's all, but why? He wasn't.
He got himself a woman. He got a lady.
Okay,
he's living his best life.
Let's talk about another thing that I thought for sure I would have bet $1 million on. That I thought this time, Quaritch, because he's now been a Na'vi, I thought something was definitely going to happen that was going to bring him to the Sully side. And for a minute, evading while protecting the children, working with Sully, I thought, okay, this is it. And then immediately we lose that, because I knew that we saw from the very first trailer, we saw that the female fire Makwan, she's doing the thing over the fire. Okay, James Cameron writes women really well. It's going to be a villain woman. Here we go. She's going to take the place. Quaritch is going to come over to our side. A given. That's a given. Nope.
But Varang.
All right, and we're back. We had a little bit of technical difficulties. We are back. Let's jump right back into it, talking about the character of Varang. I think I said last I was disappointed because James Cameron usually writes women really well, either villains or heroes. So that's why I was excited for her character that I thought would push out Quaritch in the villain category, and I thought she'd be around for a while. But she turned out to be kind of an inconsequential. I wasn't really worried about her the whole movie. She just didn't seem menacing or villainous or any of the above, which she needed to be. That character needed to be a real menacing figure, and she wasn't.
Didn't you figure that she was going to be some, like, how they have like the people that are like deeply connected to the water? Like she was going to be like the fire priestess thing, something like that, something awesome.
Another thing that
she's just weird.
Another thing that Chris and I talked about, The Way of Water was all about water. Fire and Ash. If that wasn't the title, you'd never have any idea that it was about fire and ash.
Very little fire and ash,
which I thought was very odd. And we needed to see more fire priestess. We needed to see more of that, and we didn't. And maybe it got cut, maybe it conflicted with runtime or whatever, but I'm sure it was shot. I just don't know what happened to it on the cutting room floor. So, I know, okay, Chris, you had some thoughts with that the Makwan tribe.
Yeah, so it's interesting because you say that that it may have been cut, but I don't know if it was. I don't know if much thought went into it, because in Way of Water, as we just highlighted, it was all about the water, right? And it felt very like focusing on the element of. Same with an Avatar, and everything about what the forest
Navi provides.
We're all about, right? So it's I expected in Fire and Ash to get to have it play with that tribe and that element, and and what they're about and why they are, of the fire and why they're at the mountain and all these things. And we don't get that. We get this weird backstory of how they've Awa abandoned them, so they've abandoned Awa, but they kind of didn't, because they don't explore those beats in this film at all. Like Sigourney Weaver's Kiri, whatever her name is, Kiri. She is, if they've abandoned Awa because Awa isn't there for them, and Awa isn't there, then Kiri would be the antithesis to that point, right? She is the obvious opposite of what their belief is. She is proof that even in someone that isn't an actual Na'vi, that Awa can does exist and is out there, and that isn't explored. It's glossed over one time. But then at the same time, if they have no religious beliefs, they don't believe in Awa, there's a point where she directs her goons to prepare the sacrifices. Pray tell me what they are sacrificing them to.
I assume it's the volcano.
That's the thing, though, because we never see them go to the volcano, do anything with the volcano. They just live adjacent to,
in the
and
general vicinity of.
yeah, it's like it's in their zip code. Like, what are they preparing the sacrifices for? This feels just like it's like some half baked, like research into some sort of tribe, and they made sacrifices, so it made it into the narrative somehow. But like, there's no logical thing in this movie that tells me that they would do that. They've abandoned all of this, so what are they doing that for? It seems very unthought, unexplored, and it makes for a really badass female villain, which she's like, that character is interesting on the surface, but they never let us go further than the surface. And she
No.
ends up just being this, like she's attuned with the fire because she's unpredictable or something. You know what I mean? There's even lines that Quaritch gives her, like, where, like, like about, being able to spread her people, like throughout the land. Like, he doesn't even say like fire. He doesn't even like connect that dot in the movie dialogue wise. Why? It just seems like such narrative misses when and uninteresting, because I was ready to see some cool fire shit and how they've attuned to this destructive element, this thing that consumes and then creates, place for rebirth. But they don't. They're just in the desert, covered in soot and pissed off.
Oh man, I bet you they smell so bad.
Oh,
So
Well,
the
they're not
worst.
in the desert. They're on like a mountain that's burned
they're on like
everything
a
out.
barren
Either-
mountainside.
They're
Sure,
yeah,
which I
either
mean,
way.
it could have been explored. They're angry because they've been banished to the mountain. They barely have any
What?
food,
They're
but they've
not even
somehow adapted.
banished.
They're not
They're
banished.
not even
They're
banished.
self-banished.
Well, but they've chosen to live there, and I imagine there was some reason that they chose that barren land to do it.
Well,
So, I mean,
the
again, we
other-
didn't get that.
The one thing is, I don't know if you guys noticed this, when they say that when the fire came, that AWA abandoned them, and then
Mhm.
like you see in the background, like there's a place where their temple was that is just burned. Like,
Yeah.
like that's the biggest part of it. The only thing
Yeah.
that I have a problem with their whole clan or whatever, it's not like they even have like they're a rival to the Met Kaina, which is Jake's clan or whatever. Like, they're not even like that. They're so far away. It's like they're not even in the same ballpark.
I got another question related
Okay.
to that. Have they never seen the Sky People? Ever?
I don't know. Here's
Like-
the thing: you would have to, right?
Yeah, that's kind of my point that I'm leading to. Like, what the Sky People, the humans, have done at this point, the Imperium of Mankind, like what has happened is they've landed, they've made an entire giant ass city.
They are colonizing
of industry.
this planet.
They are destroying everything. I want to get back to that in a second. And the fire and ash people have never seen the Sky People yet. They haven't encountered them to like have their firearms, see their guns. Like, none of this has happened yet. And because, like, doesn't it make more sense that that like this tribe of people would be attacking the humans nonstop and pillaging their crap? Like, if they're scavengers, they're raiders. Why wouldn't they raid the alien technology that is around instead of it being given to them by Quaritch? Like, there's just so many things here that don't make sense, that
Teach me to make
bothers
thunder. What?
you.
All,
Idiot.
all good questions. And they use the word alien over and over again, because I'm assuming that's
Yeah.
the part of the James Cameron like nod, even though Ridley Scott is the alien guy, not James Cameron. But
Yeah.
I'm sure that's it. But you asked the right questions, and if you're going to like Native American lore, it was a lot of Native American tribes in the early days of the British colonies coming over, is they had the firearms. They traded to get them, so they had muskets. They were fighting with British regulars all the time with very weapons that were the same tech. So I can understand. I would have preferred that clan. I would have preferred them already. Like, when we meet them, they already have firearms. I would have preferred that, because that's more because the lore here is obviously taken from Native American lore, right? I mean,
Of course, absolutely.
like, yes, research and everything is. And a point I brought up yesterday with Chris is, it seems that whole clan, the Manquan, is, I think it looks to me like someone just watched Last of the Mohicans. It was like, let's just do that. That works, because they had the same war paint, like the all black, and like they had the same war paint as Magua and his clan did, as the Hurons fighting the British did, the British settlers. it just seems to me like there's some laziness going on here with the research, and it just correlates too much with what we have in cinema to begin with.
What if their research is just watching old Native American centric film?
Sure, I mean,
which explains why the whole "prepare their sacrifices" line makes it in, and no one catches it, because again, the movie tells me they have nothing to sacrifice to, but yet why are they talking about it when some intern researched some Indian tribe? Oh yeah, they make sacrifices, or they're
that's
known
a good
to.
line.
Yeah, and they just put it in, and like no one thinks twice about it. So I have a question about the sky people.
Okay,
for you guys, and
the human sky people or the Na'vi sky people?
The human sky people.
Okay.
What are they here for on Pandora?
Unobtainium.
No, they're here the whale juice.
No, now it's the whale juice, and it's something else.
No.
They mentioned something else too in this one.
Now it's colonization.
Earth is dying. Earth is dying.
Yeah.
Yes.
So first it was unobtainium. It was a mining operation. Then it was whale juice for immortality or something, and now it's we need to live here now. Like, I've been told 3 different movies that I have the same group of humans doing 3 different things now, like 3 different goals, and it's just shifting with the movie as it needs.
And
it.
I know we've seen the city before, the human city, and this one looks far more advanced than it seems like. It seems like just a couple of, like, if you just roll some soldiers through the woods, you're going to kill all the Na'vi and just take their land. That's what it seemed like. When I saw the city, I was like, these people are struggling with Native American colonies? What?
Buddy, they got a TV station.
They
do, for real. Like, when they got Jake and like locked up in Times Square, like the big giant billboard thing, it's got like the damn CNN chyron going across the bottom, like Jake Sully arrested, traitor to human race. Like, it's scrolling that shit on the bottom,
which doesn't make any sense, because then you're telling me that there's probably tens of thousands of people living and working in Starbucks and all kinds of different. But then you're struggling. Your military is struggling with people with spears. What?
They got close. They got closed circuit Na'vi TV going on, and it's.
So let's talk about scale in this movie for just a minute, because I think it's a real problem. Okay,
it's a huge problem,
because I just mean not scale from like the movie and the planet. I mean from the size of ships to the size of Na'vi to the size of animals that they ride. Okay, because like the big destroyer thing that they fly around on, looks really big. And then Jake shows up on Toruk Makto and starts just throwing shit around.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, this don't matter. And like, I think that they made it such an ominous thing in the first movie. Like, the little tiny gunships could do so much damage. And now it's just like, they're just moving parts. Like, they're just cars going down a highway. And like, I think that they tried to go too big visually and never thought any of this stuff out. Like, do bullets kill half these things?
Good question, because I mean, they did in the first film.
But doesn't matter when you have stormtrooper aim now, so it doesn't really matter.
Well, yeah, okay, that's definitely part of it.
Well, because
like,
I mean,
we don't see missiles, we don't see anything like that anymore.
You make a good point, though. It's one of those things where, I don't know, it feels recycled at this point. So maybe, when you recycle, you get a little bit of money back. Maybe it makes sense this movie's going to make less money than the other ones because it just feels recycled. So,
I mean, seeing Jake swing back in on the big old dragon rider, like that's still cool, right? It still looks really rad, but buddy, we saw that already.
It looks rad, but yeah, exactly. We've already seen this. Like,
there's only so many different scenarios you can set up with Na'vi and the Sky People fighting. Like, you're gonna have two forces clashing, and that's just a matter of where. They even do the thing
where they hang on the side of the rock and wait for them. You know what I mean?
It's like
the Hallelujah Mountains.
So I just watched this just happens to coincide with watching Avatar, but I just watched a documentary on a lot of the Native American wars as human expanse moved westward in the early days of the U.S. And whenever the U.S. troopers would get just destroyed by a tactic they didn't really understand, they studied it and then they prepared for it and never fell for it again. But in this movie, it's one of those things like, is no one in the ships there looking up to see where the attack came from before?
All clear in the sky. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Like
Yeah,
you're
but
telling me
but-
that these
Shit, we did it again.
you're telling me that the director who's famous for one of his very famous movies has a tracker from Aliens that makes that ring, ring, like it can
Yep.
see anything moving anywhere, but this advanced Terran colony that's trying to take over this world doesn't have a radar that sees what's right above them. It just
they're the
doesn't
imperium of
make sense.
mankind. First, get that right. So I can't wait for the Space Marines to show up and really make some shit happen.
You think they would
But-
do better?
I mean, they have to. I mean,
Do they?
anyway, the whole with like them doing it again, like you said, like doing the Tor Mokdao thing and whatever. It just, again, it feels like you don't have to do that again. You're choosing to do that again. So why are these things important for me to watch a second time? Grayson, it's like if you were to watch Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, but a different version where instead Gandalf said, he, instead of looking to the east, you look to the west. Like that's all this feels like.
You look south.
Yeah. It's like, at the break of day, look south. Like, that's all this feels like.
But there's nobody there.
It's just the Two Towers again,
Shit.
just from a different angle. Because we get
Well,
all the same stuff at the end too. We
I
get
don't
the same
mind-
beats.
I don't mind Jake writing Turok Makto again. I mean, it's big and menacing. You've already have the character model in for it, so
Yeah,
But
but
isn't he supposed to be the king? Like, if
Yeah,
you can
he
do
is,
that,
but-
aren't you their leader? Like
Yeah,
all of
but,
them, like
well,
unite
that's
the
the thing is-
tribes?
that's the thing is the first Avatar we didn't really have any scale as to how many other tribes were out there, why they didn't
A lot.
like. If you're telling me that the Sky People, let's just call them the Sky, the humans, the pink skins, whatever, that the Sky People came,
That sounds
whatever, like,
racist.
but that's why in this Way of Water, I was like, wait a second here. There was an attack on the forest, but not the Na'vi didn't come immediately to drive out the invaders and just unite and just kill all the human. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It just,
Yeah, but
the further you open up the world here, the less sense the world building makes.
yeah, but then we
and-
also end up in the same like weird gulch sink thing, fighting in the water again with
Fight for
with
whale
our with
juice.
our with our whale brethren again against the ships again. It's just all
They get
all
destroyed the
again.
exact same way again, like literally the same shit. Except instead of one whale coming up and smashing them, a lot of bigger whales do it. Like, didn't you guys watch any of the tape of what happened last time you got your ass whipped? Like, I'm a big sports guy, right? Like, huge
Yeah.
sports fan.
Watch some game
Like-
film, right?
Yeah, like a lot of times, sometimes you get your ass kicked, right? And the next time you're a little bit more prepared for it. And then when they hit
Yep.
you with the same tactic, maybe it's still a little bit successful, but not as successful,
Yeah.
It's like, come on now.
Well,
So-
there's a lot. Unfortunately, I think there's more. James Cameron, I think there's more bad than good in this movie, and I mean that. And I mean that wholeheartedly as someone who wanted this movie to be a 10. Because I was telling Chris yesterday, and I know we should shift the focus a little bit here. Is and one of the points that Chris we talked about yesterday was this: the first one was an introductory to Avatar, massively successful. Second one was the sequel, where it didn't have to be it didn't have to be like a 10, but it had to be good. This one needed to be the Metacritic 91. This one needed to be the Metacritic 87, the Rotten Tomatoes and the popcorn meter above 90. This is the one that needed it to do that. And it's unfortunate that we're talking about all these. We haven't even started talking about little things. We're still talking about
Yeah.
big things. And that's on a list of things we're doing. And there are so many. Like, it doesn't, for instance, something that's been on my mind for days and days now, especially the second time I watched the movie, is Neytiri's hate for the people. I get it. Her son died saving Spider. I get her hating Spider. Her hating all the Sky People. I hate to break it to you, but you married one of them, and you have 4 kids with one of them. So you make no sense, because you'd also hate your children for being half Sky person. So that story beat to me, it just was like, why are we doing this? I understand her hate for Spider. I don't and Quarch. And Quarch. But I don't understand her hate for all the people, especially because Awa is about connecting with everyone and loving everyone individually. It doesn't make sense with the religion that they've set up, that she is deeply rooted in. It just doesn't make any sense. I feel like by this point in the story, Jake would have he would have sat down with her and said, there are good ones. Norm is good. That marine biologist is good. There are some good ones, but she hates all of them. And to me, that is like it's a story beat I cannot get past in my head, because it is a major one that is bothering me days after
She
I've
hates
seen
them all until somebody has to pull a patch up a hole in her chest.
What is the one? What's the reason? You remember when they land and Jake goes off to eliminate Spider? What is the thing that brings her around to go stop him? She's wiping off the paint in the water.
She's washing the stuff off her. It looks like blood on her hands.
Yeah, it's
Oh, so okay, that's right. And then she doesn't want more of it, so then she goes, and then all of a sudden she's cool with Spider. Like, there's not like someone.
I don't think she was ever really not cool with Spider. Like, she was just
those looks in the beginning. If looks could kill, those would have been daggers.
She lost a kid. She's grieving, lashing out. At least that I understand. To some level.
I don't know. So I've got two more things I want to hit, and they're small.
Okay.
But they're just things that I want to point out. Again, my big problem with this movie is, isn't the action. Action's great. Isn't the visuals. Visuals fine. Like,
stunning.
The things that I'm seeing with my eyes are nothing is wrong there. But the narrative storytelling in this it's something to be desired. And there's just a lot of misses. And there's two more that happen at the end of this movie that I can't fathom why we didn't get to go down or explore it. Maybe we'll get in the next one, but like, one of the chieftain of the water peoples, like the water tribe's sons dies.
Yep.
He gets killed, and it's so unceremonious. It's like it happens. We see it on
the
screen
wife too,
and we never go back. And that's the other thing. The wife is dead. It has a baby. So like she dies, has a baby, and we never get the scene where Natiri hands the baby to the father, right? And like,
never,
and
never get that.
The first question should be, where's my wife? Whatever, the equivalent is that, like, we don't get that scene. Why
we do get the scene with them taking the baby to connect to Awa for the first time. We do get that at the end.
We get the baby connecting to Awa, but we didn't get the scene that came before that, which was the chieftain, a dude that we've grown to like, that we think is I would guess a good character. Yeah. Like, we don't get to see him in his tragedy, in his moment. You know what I mean? Like, there's not even a mention, not even a visual. You could have a no sound, no dialogue visual of
he's not a Sully. We don't care.
Well,
that's what it comes down. That's what it comes down to. Yes, but I agree with Chris.
That's a problem. Because you just gave us scenes before where this guy stands up for the Sullys. And he says literally in front of an army of people, he's one of us.
Yeah, he's met Kaina. He's one of us.
They're making that a big deal, making that character stand out. The brother, one of the brothers that dies, they band with the boy, with Sully's other kid. They give their lives to help him. Is what's happening there when they go and help him find his tuk-tuk.
Here's Go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
Well, it just and then we get one that dies, and there's nothing to it beyond that. That's I get your movie's 3 hours and 17 minutes, but make it 3 hours and 22 minutes then, or something. I don't know. Like, I don't know what you do, but like those aren't the scenes that you cut. There's other things in this movie you can cut.
Here's the problem: is James Cameron is so focused on world building and like the broad story that he's missing the interconnectivity that he's been so successful with in the past. Like, that's the reason why Titanic is so
isn't
good.
It?
In a way, however, he may have made those choices to keep the movie at a certain length and to keep the story somewhat intact. But in movies like, even in like unlikely ones like Terminator, in Terminator 2, in Aliens, in The Abyss, in True Lies, some of the magic in those films come from inner character connectivity with each other. I mean, imagine True Lies when Harry Tasker and the Jamie Lee Curtis character, we don't get many scenes with them outside of the basic struggle of the film. Imagine how that movie turns out. Not the same. And even a movie like Terminator or The Abyss or any number of other films, they won't be the same. And this is what I've thought from the first day I watched Avatar was, this is a problem, because even the first one, which is the strongest, this is not normal James Cameron. The bar is so high that it forces everyone else to come up to his level. This is not that. So, and it's unfortunate, and there's so many good things here too in the movie. There's a lot of, the visuals are fantastic. There's a lot of, I think, emotional complexity that I would have traded for other character moments, but we have it, so I'm kind of glad we have it. But what were some things that you guys liked? Because we've spent some time talking about things we didn't like. So I think to be
Well,
fair, we got to mention things we liked.
So I've already mentioned them, and I'll write them off one more time. But like you're all going to nod your heads and agree because it's the things. But here's the thing: I think we have spent a lot of time on things we don't like. It's because the things that we do like are surface level. There's not much more to them than rattling them off. You can't really explore the positives that are here, which are the action and the visuals are stunning. Like
Top
those
tier.
two things are out of this world good, and you could point to this movie and tell me that it's the best you've ever seen visually and action wise. I'm not going to argue because it does look great, sounds great, is great, cool shit to see, and makes sense. But like, Roger, is there anything else? Like,
Nope.
like you can go now.
I mean, honestly, it looks awesome. Looks awesome. Action's great. Story is the weakest part.
Yeah, there's some really cool visuals in this, but again, that still goes to visual. Like the scenes when Quaritch and the fire lady
Vrang.
when they show up at the city and it's got like the flyer light, the pelican lights behind them, and like they're walking around, and like the way that she moves is very serpent esque, and he's doing his mega chad walk all the way through, like that looks so goddamn good. And like my favorite visuals of the entire movie were those shots because they're just crisp looking. Okay, I'm done talking about the good stuff.
I love the magnetic storm at the end.
Mhm.
At the
Yeah, that's cool.
at the
That's cool.
the whale
Mhm.
whatever, the whale ceremony thing. Like, it just looks rad.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not anything entirely new from what we've seen in this, but like, it looks so good. It's also dumb as hell, but it looks cool.
Like, where does it go? What does it do?
Yeah, just some.
Well,
I assume that that's a teleportation device. You know, magic.
Where this
led me
movie
to believe this.
where this movie ends, I have a real problem with too, because the second one ends again with a very somber moment. They send away the young Sully to the spirit of the AWOL, and we kind of end on that. And that's I think where we needed to end the second film, is a little bit of reflection, what we just lost. We had lost, and we had a massive action sequence where a grieving mother just went to town on some Marines, and then we have a confrontation of Quaritch and Jake. And then we had a daring escape from the Titanic, and then the movie ends. And then in this one, we had a weird. This is the one that couldn't. This is the one that needed the Matrix second film ending. This is the one that needed the split ending of walking us right in the next one. This is the one where, after they've won and they've destroyed all the troops, Sully is saying, "No, we need to attack. All of their tech is gone. Their attack force is gone. We need to attack. We need to we need to nip this in the bud now, or they're going to keep coming after us." And then we should have ended with them, the war chant, and then they're marching on the city, or they're flying on the city, or something that wasn't what we got with Spider walking through the people and seeing
High five, bro.
Sigourney Weaver again, and then we come out to like the world of how it does the Avatar, the bum, wah, wah, bum, bum. And then like this is amateur filmmaking. This is what it is. And I'm not afraid to say it. You hate me for it, whatever.
You didn't say it to his face.
If
You
the
had a chance
panel,
to,
if
coward.
the James Cameron
You
panel,
had a chance, coward.
no, if the James Cameron panel had opened up questions to the audience, my hand would have shot up and been like, "Are you happy with this, James? Just a question. Is this your best work?" It would have been something akin to it. But the person I was with, the thing I had to promise him was, Grayson, remember, this is my DGA status that we're going to this on. Don't do anything stupid, because he knows I have very strong opinions about movies. So I would like to know what his thoughts is on this movie as a critical, not in the press, not in an interview for a camera trying to sell the movie. I want to know what his theory on that, because it can't be good. There's no way that he's happy with this product. Call me crazy, but I just don't see someone like James Cameron watching this movie and outside of the press being happy with it. Am I wrong, guys?
I mean, he wasn't happy with it in the press when he immediately started saying, "Hey, I'm kind of getting done with Avatar."
I think the movie's going to make $1.5 billion at least, and everyone's going to be fine.
It's fine. Things are fine.
I don't know, man. I have my doubts. I have my
I'll
doubts.
be surprised if it makes it. I'll be surprised if it doesn't make 1.5. But even if it doesn't, we're still talking about $1 billion movie.
Yep.
We are. But it probably cost them $600-700 to make.
400.
So
that was the budget, 400.
Anyway.
But the advertising, it was another 200 or 300 as well. Had to have been
all paid for already by the second one.
True.
I don't feel bad about any of this.
They're still in the green. We're fine.
Sure.
Like, cool. I feel bad that you're going to make $1.5 billion on a movie that you're not happy with.
Well,
make a better movie then.
There you have it. If you watched Avatar and you want to refute any of our claims, by all means, comment, send us an email. Where are they writing in, Chris? What's the email again? Post credits pod or something.
I'll put it in the top comment.
You're the one that made it. That's why I'm asking you. Okay. Anyway, so by all means,
give you Grayson's personal phone number.
Yeah.
You put a comment on YouTube, I will send you Grayson's personal cell phone number.
Thank you. I would love to hear. Put it in a comment on the video. I would love to hear your thoughts of why this movie, why some of the stuff we mentioned isn't as big a problem as you think, and it may not be. I know I'm super critical. I know Chris and Roger can be super critical. It's just, this is all opinion anyway. But again, maybe not listen to three a-holes on the internet. So anyway, but thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us for this discussion. This could have been a longer. I mean, this by all rights, a discussion on an Avatar film could go as long as 6 hours, 7 hours. It very, very easily could.
Nah,
topics we didn't get to, but
I got to edit video.
I'm aware. Thank you. But if you love the Avatar start to finish, please comment. I would love to know why, and I would love to consider your reasoning. Maybe it's something I haven't thought of. I'd love to explore that. So if you didn't like it, say we were right. Hashtag you guys are right. Thank you. Just give us that. But thank you for joining us, Roger and Chris especially. Thank you for joining me for this discussion. That does it for us on episode 61 of Post Credits Podcast, a show where we are lucky enough to talk about movies with you. If you listen to this episode on an audio-only service, such as Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and Podbean, feel free to head over to YouTube, check us out there, turn us on while you're making dinner, whatever you do, turn us on. Like and subscribe, smash those buttons. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next week for another theatrically released film, the last one we will talk about in 2025.
Ever.